And we are back and live with Darren. Thanks so much for tuning in again for number 3 of the training series. We're going to go heads deep into content. I will once again say it is super important to make all of the changes that we talked about in the previous 2 sessions. So none of this with the background, none of this with the corporate background. I'm not going to spend really much time on it beyond that today, just in the interest of time and to advance the lecture to really get into the heart of the matter once you've constructed the profile to really get into the better parts that are going to produce the results on the content side. So for sake of time and interest today, let's go ahead and focus on looking at the profiles of Patrick and of Sean. I guess I'll put mine up too, just so if there's anything that I want to reference just on ours. Tom's important, Darren's important, obviously, because he's tuning in live, but until the basics are done, I just want to focus on everybody that's already gone a little bit further down the rabbit hole. So let's just take a quick look at Patrick, because it looks like out of the team, he's got the most of what I said, specifically with this part, as compared to Sean, which I've been watching, has definitely been doing a lot of good stuff. And I know that this is kind of cool and exciting, but I still feel like the piece that converts better is more or less what Patrick is doing. So Patrick's got, it looks like a split screen here of, hey, I'm speaking, I'm on stage, and here I am doing some kind of course, which I assume is what was going on there, right, Darren?
Yeah, speaking at FIT.
Oh, sweet. Okay, perfect. I think people often, they don't care like where you're speaking. Sometimes it's cool if you were like at TED or something like that, where there's something cool in the background, but otherwise I don't think people super care about that. So let's dive in. It looks like a lot of this, for the most part, this is good. Let's take a look at the summary. I do feel like there's still more to clean up in here in the sense of just getting maybe a little bit more personal and going through that hero's journey. I would like to see a little bit more depth in here, a little bit more just in terms of links that go to case studies, that go to a client list, that go to notable events that have happened, personal, professional, just anything to get people more interesting. And of course, just going out to the call to action. It does say reach out directly or email me at Pat, which is great. I think it's probably worth having some kind of Calendly link over here. And if you're comfortable also having a phone number, let's just take a quick peek at what Sean has over here. Yeah, sorry, Sean. I think Patrick still has you beat over here. But he's got the nice claim to fame with the Forbes 30 under 30. That's definitely something that jumps out to people. These things are good, but I feel like there's so much. Sean's an interesting guy, right? He's got stories to tell. And out of everybody in the group, I feel like he's pumping out more content. So being like the leader, pumping out more content guy, I definitely want to see a little more narrative in here because I think it's worth it. And I want to see more examples. So we already know he's Forbes 30 under 30. It's great. It's notable. But we've already got a little bit more going on Patrick's side where he gets into. So while I'm in the moment and I find your content interesting and I go in and look into the person that is Patrick, he's got something right in there that leads directly into Jump 450. So that's great. So let's take a look into the activity feeds of both of these gentlemen. Any questions, comments so far?
Nope.
Okay, great.
A couple of people I'm quite familiar with, so excited to...
Right, yeah. I mean, you're hanging out with all these guys all day long, so yep, I totally hear. All right, so I always love to look at a good heartbeat of activity feed. When you are creating content on LinkedIn, just communicating with other people out there is definitely something to do. LinkedIn algorithmically does not like it when you're just posting content and all about yourself. So it's good to interact on other people's content. I would say it's a necessity to interact with content that you've created. If you're just going to ignore all the people on it, that's a big mistake because you can get incredible research straight off of every time you're going to like somebody's comment within your zone or comment back on it. That's going to be enormous in the sense that now people are going to see that again on your activity feed, and they could be seeing the same content for the first time a week later. So it's got some real good power to it. And I see that, he was definitely sharing some stuff for other people and celebrating their success with Cheddar and all of that. And that's great. And let's see. So let's take a look, not just on the activity side, but on the post side, see what everybody's up to. Okay, so Sean's been at it even today. Awesome. Let's see what he's got. Okay, so Sean is doing the whole line by line thing, and that's awesome. I think this is definitely, you all remember what we talked about last time just in terms of the totem pole. This changes all the time, but currently it's still document sharing, video, image, short form, long form, and then external links, which is like a big no-no. So he's doing not the highest value, but I think it's good to tell the story. Let's see how the engagement is. It's kind of so-so. I will tell you, at the time of this recording, I have been doing a lot of data comparisons with a lot of people who have very large voice. LinkedIn has been extremely buggy since the last time we talked. Usually when there is a glitch in the matrix, shall we say, I feel like they're usually rolling out something that's new. So I've seen a lot of people almost feel like they're in LinkedIn jail, where people that would have a tremendous amount of following, all of a sudden their numbers just kind of plummeted to nothing. Now, I think part of that is LinkedIn was buggy. So if LinkedIn's buggy, people can't see your content. So not everything's going to be amazing. Not everybody likes everything that you do. But when there's very large systemic issues, I think that you can always expect something to just completely go down as far as that goes. But the other thing that I think that they don't think enough about and talk about is to variate the content. LinkedIn will penalize you if you just repeatedly rely on short form after short form. You have to mix it up. I find throughout the week, I'll usually start the week with the document share because I know it usually has the best reach. So I like to save that for the beginning of the week. I feel like most posts, when they do well, continue for a good week, and then they kind of fall off after that. Not just the first hour, first 24 hours. But you'll notice that if you don't have good engagement within the first hour or two, something probably is wrong. Wrong subjective, but the way that I'm using it is for some kind of predictable virality. What I also love about the document share side is you can dive directly into what you're good at, right? So for what we do infographics. So what I do is I chop them up, I put them in PDF format. People love the format and it catches fire. Right? So without fail, thousands of people always see it, sometimes tens of thousands, and in some rare instances, just hundreds of thousands. I think the best one, probably a month and a half, 2 months ago, hit a good 500,000. So to have organic reach into one of the highest value target social networks there is for free is a pretty good kind of set, if you ask me. So I don't want to see Sean always doing this. I feel like the last time we were analyzing Sean's profile, I feel like he was doing a lot of this. So I would love to see Sean variate because I feel like his engagement might not continue.
Videos in there recently.
Okay, good. And in fairness, this was 2 hours ago. So that's not terrible by any means. And again,
the next one is hot off the press. Document, like basically one of our digital outlook for 18 to 19.
Okay, great. I think I did see that when I was preparing for this earlier today. So right after this, we'll get right into it. Just as another reminder, Sean and everybody on the team should be examining this like under the microscope. You should be getting high value targets that, if you think about it, not everybody's going to comment. Not everybody's even going to like. So we always, after a big boost of content where it's really radiating out, we all have premium here. We should always be looking at who's viewed your profile. And that's as outbound as we recommend and not automation and garbage. Some of the big names that were doing classes and stuff actually got banned from LinkedIn by overdoing on automation. So maybe I'm a little bit conservative on that, but everybody I train doesn't get banned. So that's a pretty good record that I don't want to break. So if it's not made by LinkedIn, don't use it, because how do you know it's going to not get you banned? Pretty easy rule to follow. So it's worth manually looking at this stuff. And if somebody looks like, hey, here's a CEO and co-founder, or if there's a big name company like Google or something like that, it's worth really digging into these folks. And of course, if you can be on the team to also help them out, that's great too. And here's the report. Awesome. Hot off the press. Yeah. And it seems like it's actually outpacing. So one thing with this, and I think we should spend quite a bit of time on this for a sec here. So let's take a look. So hot off the press, our inaugural report, what you tracked. So this is quite good, and it's definitely a step in the right direction. But here's a few things that I would recommend. And I'm interested in some interactive dialogue here too, Darren. So I think something that probably killed this compared to where it should have been is not to start with this. Right? Because a lot of times, if this was in my activity feed, it would probably cut off like right after hot off the press. It might not even show me this line. So I would have see more and then like not see it. And then there would be some sort of report. So it should have been more of a dive into what the content is going to be. Like this is our news headline. It cannot be hot off the press. Anything that he's going to post new is technically hot off the press. So it's okay, but it doesn't get to the point fast enough. I would have dressed it up, and not to even say our inaugural direct response benchmark report. I would pose it as a question or a statement to just capture people, right? So what does this report really represent to the world? Why do people care about this report, Darren, in your opinion?
I think it's because we have a lot of interesting insights into the digital marketing world, and what we're trying to do is share that with the rest of, I would say our competition maybe, but like other brands, and really show how we see the market and why we're different.
Right. Okay.
So I think like the topic should be a little better than that.
Yeah, if it's just framed a little bit better, I think this would have been stratospheric, right? Also, when you guys are going to post something like this, tell me and I'll help boost it. I mean, that's kind of what I'm here for, right? So let's talk about framing it, and let's talk about helping get the engagement off the ground, right? So sort of like I said, a lot of the magic happens within the first hour or two. If you're not already seeing double-digit likes and at least 5 comments within the first hour, it's not catching on, right? It shouldn't take that long. So sometimes it's worth asking a few people to just like it or share it or comment on it, right? There's no shame in that. So, but let's use words that the internet understands. I feel like people don't necessarily know what direct response is unless you're like really specific in that industry. But I think people know what paid media is a lot more, right? So it could just be like, here is one of the most well-researched paid media benchmarks. We spent hundreds of hours on it. Something should have been said here as a different kind of a thing, right? So hot off the press doesn't do anything for me. Our inaugural bench report, I don't necessarily think people care about the fact that it's the first one. I feel like people actually trust reports that have been in circulation for multiple years. So I don't think that actually wins us points, right? So there needs to be a title here. And maybe we even have, if Patrick didn't run it, maybe if Patrick didn't run it yet, maybe we can try and, okay, he sort of did. He shared Sean's. Maybe it's worth giving it to Patrick to test this out.
Let's do that.
Yeah, and I think what we'll end up doing is maybe we can start a little Google Doc where we can put in the proper title, proper summary, proper keywords, and then outreach plan, okay? And then tracking. Okay, so I can set that up where we share it with the team, And then we'll do that as a test. I mean, Patrick's got a nice sized following. Let's see. Yeah, he actually has a better following than Sean, and I'm pretty sure both of them are higher than you guys. Let me just double check.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I think Patrick's going to be our man to test. Because he semi-shared it already, I'd like to see maybe a post or two just separating the distance between the two, just in case, because it's already been within that week. So I don't want it to run over itself, but let's try to give it a new start, because this is an awesome report. You guys put a ton of work into this, right?
Yep.
So for that amount of work to not even get 40 likes, 7 comments, I know this can do better. Because I mean, he was doing better than that on the thing he just wrote about growing an agency. I know we can get more.
So you think you just delete his post about like reposting Sean's and then do it?
No, not even deleting it. Did you say delete? So not even deleting, but rather let's just put some distance, right? So Patrick, just post about something, maybe some images, maybe some video content, something like that. And then we're going to do a fresh new post where it's going to be that document share along with a better reframe of it. But I also, so that's the key, setting the table on that. But I also just want to spend a second on here. A couple other things are concerning me. So this is 57 pages long. I wonder is there a way we can try something shorter? And I'm questioning it even as I say it, because it is a really big report. Do you guys have a shorter version of this at all? If not, no big deal. We can test it.
I don't think so. It's kind of, we could definitely, cut some things out maybe, but this is kind of just like an all-encompassing, like when Deloitte or, Price Waterhouse would drop like a 2018 media report, boom, it's 200 pages.
Right. And that's fair.
It's definitely kind of long.
Yep. It's on the long side, but I mean, the pages are short and you gotta, you're talking about all these different networks. So what the heck else are you supposed to do? So that's fair. So rather than us redoing the document, we're going to reframe around it. So even just looking at what he said, where was it? To just even like, you see what he did here? I like what he did here, right? So it's like, this is eye-opening. That's good. Like it's more attractive, but what's eye-opening, right? The first sentence should be a little more self-fulfilling than that. So this is worlds better of an open air than this, right? Because hot off the press is just an announcement. We've wasted the words. Saying that something is eye-opening is showing that Sean is interested in something, but we need just one level better there. We need something to set the table, and like we have here, we'll come up with the right title, which I can help write straight out. Mm-hmm. Summaries are pretty good. Keywords are pretty good. And then I'm wondering, so when you guys, and maybe you don't know, Darren, but when Patrick and Sean were pushing this out, do you know if there was any kind of set mindset plan, getting people to notice it, anything like that?
I mean, that was the overall plan, but as for, you mean like a strategic approach of words versus, I mean, you want to make it media friendly, mobile friendly for sure.
Yes, but that's actually not what I'm saying. I'm talking about just in terms of distributing it. So did Sean let everybody know 6 days ago that he was pushing this out?
No.
And did he? Okay. So I think when you've got the crown jewel of the algorithmic level of content, let's be a little bit more deliberate when we're going to push this out. So we should have in mind, it's like, I'm not really a big believer. You've heard me talk about this a little bit before. I'm not a super big believer of a specific day or a specific time, because when things go hot, they travel all over the world, and there's people in every time zone on LinkedIn. There's over 600 million people. But if there's like a specific time zone you're trying to hit, specific reach, influence, we might as well try towards the beginning of the week, early in the day, and we're all in Eastern here, right? I think doing something kind of early before 9 o'clock, maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, something like that, early in the week, so it has time to carry throughout the week around the world, I think is the right cadence for trying something like this. And as soon as it goes out, you'll hear a number of people, I'm not sure if you've seen or heard this before, a lot of social, even beyond LinkedIn, also on things like Instagram, all sorts of other different platforms, people have what are called engagement pods. They are highly controversial, and not everybody has the same opinions on them. So some people say, these are terrible, and people get greedy and they overuse them, and then, you know, all the content gets flamed out. It's been my experience that that's not exactly true. But I think that there's kind of like a middle ground approach to this. So when you have something that's great, you need to get as many eyeballs on it as quickly as possible within your control. So like if you see on my screen here, this is a group that I don't remember how many people are in here. There's probably a few dozen people in here. You can join different groups like this, and a bunch of people just share each other's links. There's no obligation to share and like other people's stuff. I will tell you, as I've told the people within groups, if just because I'm in a group and we support each other, that doesn't mean that we're best buddies, that we're going to like each other's stuff every time. Because quite honestly, I don't think most people put out good content. Most people don't put out good content ever. And even the people that put out great content are only great every so often, right? So I'm sure you guys put hundreds of hours into this report and multiple people touched it. I saw you had all these quotes from other people. So you guys put a lot of serious work on it. So that's the kind of favor that you're going to want to go ask your friends and buddies. And you can email people, you can send them messages on LinkedIn, whatever it is. I think that there should be a lot more focus when this goes out to help it get above the noise. Because if the same 10, 15, 20 people like it, and if Sean is just getting likes from Patrick and you and Tom and whatever, that's not enough, right? We need these people to get us beyond that curve. So to get a nice, good spread of that right at the beginning is what I'm going to be looking for.
You'd ask people like in your network that have like the greatest number of like connections or something to go and like it or comment on it or something?
Right. So I don't always do it as a numbers game, right? I do it more, who can I rely on that will just do me a favor right now? So if you almost look at it like as a social media bank account, I do many more favors and help people much more than I expect from people. So if I am coming to you, that means you know that I care about this and I want some help on it. So it's not necessarily the people with the largest following, although certainly that's going to help. But if it's almost like, imagine like photocopying something, right? And if you keep photocopying a photocopy, eventually it's like really going to fade. So my theory, the way the algorithm works as far as this specific point is if you're overly reliant on the exact same people every time, don't think that they're going to have such an amazing effect. Also, somebody that's like never liked your content or never commented or never shared probably has a much larger effect than all of the people within your own company. So I feel like whenever I'm like analyzing your posts, you all are liking each other's stuff, which is normal and good, and we do that too in my organization. But if that's all that keeps happening, that's not going to be good enough. So I want you guys reaching a little further out, and maybe we try to put you into some of these network groups or something like that, or just people that you know. But I think what I want to see happen is really to spread that in a way that as soon as this hits on Patrick's side, let's just really get coordinated with it. Right? I want him to blow the doors off of Sean's performance on here. I would like to see, because I can't see his analytics, if we have any insight in that and if there were any good hits after that, just in terms of you guys following up. So, right, so there's the coordination that's happening before. There's definitely the coordination during where you need to babysit that post, right? So if people are asking questions about it, for all you know, there could be like a Fortune 500 that's sitting there like, wow, this report's amazing. I want to work with you guys. Maybe they're not going to be that straight with it, right? But there's plenty of people that are paying attention to this stuff, and this is super valuable, right? Then, so we've got the before, we've got the during, and even after this kind of slows down, definitely looking at people who viewed it, people who viewed the profile, people who liked, people who commented, and people who shared. Usually when you click on analytics, you can actually see, let me just show you where that is on there, because sometimes they move things around. So if we take a look within my stuff here, so we've got, okay, so in here, so I did a document share yesterday. And if I click on the analytics, it doesn't show you how many people share over here. You actually have to click into the analytics, and from here, it shows you the reshares. So I know something is catching fire if I have any number of reshares and they're not even connected to me, right? That's amazing. And what I can do is, as I scroll down, I can see if a bunch of people have liked it, liked their specific posts. And what I'll typically do is, so I saw this person, I had a whole conversation with her after because she shared it out. So this guy did, right? So that's the kind of, and he had a number of likes on it too. So you can straight from the screen comment, and I at the least will usually just say, you know, thanks so much for sharing or whatnot. This is new content, so I didn't actually have a chance to do that yet. So I can't see that from here. So please, Darren, as a note, let's just ask Sean, did he get any reshares on this? I mean, I guess we could consider, I mean, it looks like Patrick did it. But if anybody did it beyond there, I would love to see that information. And I think it's worth, since Sean already did it and Patrick didn't exactly, it's worth doing this experiment. But let's, yep, and let's just go down a little bit. So this was pretty good. I mean, that, I think that was above average for Sean's content. Okay, what is this? Is this a long form post? Yes, it is. Okay, good. Yeah, all right, so he's definitely expanding out. That's great. Something that I'm going to assume he didn't do here. Yep. Okay, so right here, I think it's good to kind of have like a boilerplate approach. I'll show you what I do. So on my articles, so here's a piece I just wrote. So we go to the bottom, and I always have like an about the author thing, okay? And here's where I just go to town. So here I link to my website, I link to a landing page on the website. If you're not already connected with me on LinkedIn, go do that, Twitter, and I even give people like, if they want to just book time, because hey, if they love the work, guess what? They actually book time and they buy. So I feel like you're missing an opportunity to not have an ability to convert right on that piece of it.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Mm-hmm. And we always want to thank everybody. And Sean did it here. Another person came in. What's super important to remember about the long form / pulse / whatever they're calling it these days, they always give it different names lately. These things can live forever, right? These are searchable in Google, whereas the short form stuff isn't. So we always want to periodically, see, there it is when I just do a search. Yeah, and they actually index pretty quick. So it's a really good way, even though you usually get like kind of crappy engagement and the view count is usually super low. It used to be quite the opposite. We used to get hundreds of thousands of engagement back when LinkedIn Pulse was a thing, and there was like a whole editorial team, and Pulse had different categories. So like there was a technology category, and tech by itself had like 50 million subscribers. So whenever you would go viral within a particular Pulse category, it would just go off the charts, insane. And sometimes the LinkedIn editors would pick you for like 3 big categories, and then like you would just destroy it. They, for the most part, kind of killed all that. So it's lost a lot of its glory, which is why you'll see a lot of people who train about this and people who write, they kind of went away from that. But the fact that this indexes in Google and stays there forever, the shelf life of these things. I have things like 2 years later, people just come by and randomly like stuff. So you never know. You could see people come in and comment and do stuff that you just might have missed. And also weird, their analytics are different on here. So this publicly shows me how many times it's been shared. Whatever. LinkedIn doesn't make sense sometimes, and there's a lot of inconsistencies, but that's why we're guiding through, right? Because these things are important. Okay, so any questions on this long form part before we go back to the rest of the anatomy?
No, I think it's great. I think that bottom section of like call to actions is really helpful for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sweet. So, all right, so back to Sean. I just wanted to see, I saw he had a shorter document share in here not that long ago, and I think it actually did better. And, 42 likes on a long form post is pretty good. That's not bad at all. Considering, again, I'm just like eyeballing under 3,000 followers, that amount of engagement is pretty solid. Okay, so here, this I feel like should have done much better. So let's figure out why. And you saw the see more that I just clicked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not interesting enough before I click that, that's a problem. So again, just to reiterate real quick as we're walking through the steps on here, this is eye-opening, better start than the other one, but still not even close to what we need to be. What's eye-opening, right? Conversion rate optimization is eye-opening for e-commerce. Okay, so what the heck does that mean, right? It needs to be something that resonates to people, even if they have nothing to do with this at all, and people who are really into it. So let's see. And I think sometimes, like, I know there was that guy who's like, if you put like, I don't know, something in the microwave, it turns into a diamond. It was just like this stupid science video you probably saw like over the last few weeks going nuts on LinkedIn. Those are fine. But if you're just going to have stupid nonsense that goes viral within your account, I think you've kind of missed the point. That might build your audience a little bit, but it's so far off the radar of what you do for a living. Like, we're not here to just entertain people all day. It has to be edutainment. So you've got to drop in some stuff that's direct to your work. And I feel like Document Share just perfectly gets that in. So let's look at this for a second and think about how we could reframe this. So when you just throw out stats, especially if they're not a big stat, it doesn't sing to me. And I don't think it sings to most people. So 47% of customers expect the pages to load in 2 seconds or less. That's a lot of mental gymnastics. So it's less than half of people. And 2 seconds or less or what? I mean, like, I'm a person who uses the internet. That's something like I feel like I already know, right? So I feel like that discredits a little bit of what the report is about. So I would rather see one stat that just blows people's minds, right? So if we started with like, did you know 80% of customers won't come back to a website that sucks? Like if you just threw it out like that, you could incorporate the best stat with the title. I feel like some of these things people they can't necessarily relate to, right? And that's kind of what the point of the report is. So this is almost like you're in a trap of a relative to what scenario. So, okay, 4 seconds or less, 2 seconds or less. So unless you actually actively optimize websites, what does it mean to you, right? I feel like we need to dangle a big stat because the people who do this aren't your customer, right? Like that's what you're doing for them, right?
Yeah.
You don't do it end to end. I get that, but I don't know. I think we just
like a call out saying like we operate digital marketing, and if we're running an ad to somebody's website, no matter how good the ad is, if it takes forever to your mobile page speed to load, then
there you go.
On you.
So guess what, Darren? You almost just wrote the headline right there. The best ads in the world won't be seen if your website's too slow. Like you could literally write that, and that's the eye opener.
Interesting.
Right? What's so good that it would keep you reading to let you look at the document? Right? And then we could have like an emoji of a slug or something. Let's see. Is there a slug? I don't even know. You might as well throw something in, right? Just for visual appeal.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a snail. That's pretty good. Aren't they so weirdly different? Come on, Google. Give it a try. Twitter just dials it in. Facebook's pretty cool. I don't know what that guy's thinking, but that's weird. All right, so let's stop looking at snails for a minute. But I'm going to copy that. I'm going to send that to you after. Because, hey, we might as well have Patrick test both of Sean's things, right? I don't think Patrick did that one. Let's take a quick look. Okay, he's talking about dreaming big. I know it's always fun to do these goal cast things, but I don't know. Oh, cool. Look, he put one in. Awesome. That's kind of strange. It's a document, but it's one page. And really, it's like a picture. I don't know if I'd really recommend that. But hey, I mean, he's mixing it up, so respect. I feel like when he's doing the short posts, this is like a lot of words to read at once. Sean's spacing things out a lot better. I think just for visual appeal, I would be more like Sean and less like Patrick on that. But I don't want to jump around all over the place. Let's look one level deeper, see if he didn't do it. I think people love that in the moment shot kind of stuff. If I saw this post, I'd be like, bro, come on, fix your phone or something, but that'd just be me trolling. Let's see what else we got. Here's another piece, good. There it is. Okay, so I feel like, so Patrick posts a lot of content comparatively to the group. So because this was already 3 weeks ago, maybe we can test it again. Let's just page through this for a second too. See if there's anything else. So I feel like, it looks like you guys are loading in PowerPoint presentations as opposed to PDFs. So if you look at it, just going back to an example that I have over here. So I'll just pull up one I just did yesterday about artificial intelligence. I like the fact, you see how this is much taller?
Mm-hmm.
If you have something, let me just bring it up on the screen. I like the fact, and it's like that on mobile too, right? I like having a larger footprint up and down because I feel like it gets people really curious and it just spreads out really nice. So if you do have anything that's more of a PDF, and I was a little surprised, right? Because that benchmark report that you have, is that actually a PowerPoint presentation?
I'm not sure.
Let's take a, oh, no. Oh, sorry. So this one is straight up and down. So this is good. It's a little spread out, but we'll get back to that. No, this does what I wanted. I like it nice and long rather than wide. This one doesn't seem to be. I have a feeling this one is a PowerPoint presentation, right?
Probably, yeah. PDF, yeah.
That's okay. I don't think we have to go crazy redoing everything. I feel like a PDF that's nice and tall is going to outperform a slide deck. I don't think people love slide decks anyway. This one's pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's actually pretty tight. But if I had one or the other to pick, I think I'd go the other way. Let's just look at this a second. Yeah, this is nice and clean. And I think even if you just reworded it the way that you and I just said it, it's so much more eloquent, right? E-commerce and retail landing page conversion rate optimization. It just sounds like we're just putting words together. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of just a repeat. I feel like if you dropped the same line that we just said before, I think people would just find it more interesting. So I would love to have an awesome line like we started, right? Like I've captured over here with the best ads in the world. won't work if your website's too slow, because that's really what we're talking about. I would pick maybe like the 79 or say almost 80%. I'd probably drop a lot of the others. And less is more, right? So consumers in the Amazon era simply demand more. I mean, I think people know that, right? Because like everybody in America uses Amazon. Where does your brand stand? I don't know, right? Like I think we could probably lose some of that, and really just, if there's anything repetitive, just cut it off. Let's see, marketing, digital marketing, e-commerce landing pages, expense. Okay. So I think it's worth trying this again. I have a feeling that the report will do much better, and it's so much more important, right? I mean, like this is a newsworthy element, right? Have you guys pushed this out to the media or anything? Is it up on the website?
It got posted in some form of newsletter or digital media, not paid media, but I think it's definitely not on the website. I'm pretty sure.
Really? Shouldn't it be?
I don't know. We're also redoing the website, so.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Right. Looks good.
Like Tom sent it to one of the advertising forums, and they like posted it apparently.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, if I were you guys, I'd be like screaming that from the rooftops, right? As cool as the new site is, yeah, like it needs a home here or some kind of teaser into it, something. Okay. Let's see. Let's take one more quick look. Don't really see it. Okay. Unless they write it separate. No, that's a mess. All right. Well, I think it's newsworthy, but right now we're going to cut that back to LinkedIn. So yeah, I
mean, we obviously would love to blast that out to the world. So, I mean, whatever advice you can help with that, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, we could even tag people, right? As we should, either in the post itself. I don't think, oh no, he did. Okay, great. So these are the people who actually contributed.
Those are like our actual employees.
Right. But there were other people. Weren't there people in here that aren't your employees?
No.
So no, not that. But like here, I noticed towards the end, right? Was everybody in here people that work for you? Let me find it. So like these guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we got Tom, but Ben works for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, quotes from the team. Sorry, I missed that. I thought like you had like some industry quotes or something. That's fine. I almost feel like it's worth tagging people. Tagging is a dangerous game, right? So if you're going to tag somebody that you don't know and doesn't know you, and like some people just, they look for the biggest names in LinkedIn and they just drive them crazy. If it's somebody you know that you think would be good into it, even if you don't get them in as part of that coordinated effort push, it might be worth putting in the comments, right? And you could just be like, Sean could just be like, hey, @ Brian Wallace, thought you'd really enjoy this. Here's some people that I think would really benefit from that. I think as long as you do it, that's like pretty decent. That's okay. All right, I see my friend Fabio liked it. Fabio is actually a great example of somebody to kind of go after into this. I don't know if you know him too, but I know he definitely.
Be a group with Fabio and a bunch of other people, like Crush LinkedIn or something.
Okay, so you're already doing some of that stuff. Good. So he's got a nice amount of following. Good. Crush LinkedIn. Very cute. So are a lot of the people who are jumping in here in that group?
I'm not sure. I don't
Do
think so.
you,
Those are our clients.
like, you know, a lot of these, I assume you know a bunch of these people. I know, like, we all know Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim's helping us with automatic outreach.
Mhm. All the stuff I keep saying not to, but that's okay. As long as I know I've talked to him before, as long as like you keep it like kind of chill and not overkill, it shouldn't hurt. I've just seen some things happen where they put people in LinkedIn jail and some people never get out. So that stuff makes me nervous. Okay.
I'm not quite sure where we stand on that yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's only
Okay.
been a few weeks, and now we're trying to get like we got actually a few good leads from it, so it's positive.
From what specifically?
Tim scrapes something, and then we'll send auto email, or not email, auto DM like templates,
Okay.
and with like first name, company name, and then just pretty much just the same message, and
Mhm.
then follow on with another like 2 messages or 3 messages, and then eventually they'll reply to one or say no or
All right.
nothing. But
I,
then
I get
myself,
it and it's
yeah,
cool, but I think that's the kind of thing that most people hate about LinkedIn. That's like all of the valid criticism. It's like, oh, I hate these salespeople that always auto DM spam me, right? Because you guys are better than that. You're not just starting from scratch. You guys are already an agency. You're awesome. You're growing, and you just put together something that's gold, right? Like this needs to be seen by more people. And I'll try to even think of some people that should look at this. Think of maybe even just try to think of some targets. Like who would you like in an ideal world? Do you have like specific companies that maybe you're not already in that you would want to see this?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Could we make a list maybe and just look through connections? I think it's worth doing a little homework on this one. This should be like our shining star and do it right. Like I think we should go straight at this for Monday morning and just come up with a plan on how to do this. I'm down for that if you are.
Yeah, I mean for sure, especially if, well, obviously Pat hasn't done it yet, but
But we can
that's
just address Pat and just be like, hey, Pat, watch this again. Or you can just get with them and we can do it. Yeah. I think we need to do that.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if we should we've also been looking at doing paid LinkedIn ads too, and you do like a lead gen and like free ebook effectively, like that would be like an ebook, and then submit your email address to get the 2018-2019 report. I mean, I don't know if that makes the most sense. I'm not really the technical guy on that side, but
Sure. I'm a big advocate, as long as organic reach is good, that you don't really even need to do that at this point. I feel like there may come a day where my opinion on that will change, but I think right now, people are very interested in who you guys are, who the culture of personality is behind the people who work there. I think that usually sells better than just straight cold ads.
mm,
I mean, as we're sitting here talking about a report about ads, it's a little funny, but you know what I mean? Just like straight cold stuff, I think is not always the most fun stuff.
yeah,
So, all right.
I think definitely warmth is there's a direct correlation to success there.
Mm-hmm.
However, we can figure that out.
Yep. So, as Patrick's network is slightly bigger than Sean's, I think that's a good target. I feel like, that being said, I think Sean usually gets better reach, doesn't he?
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, if as
Yeah,
you're watching me scroll through,
yeah.
I mean, he's not usually getting the same kind of reach. I mean, here he had 29 likes. Let's just take a look. Here he got 33. This is actually quite good. It's nice and short. He even did just a nice little thing that's like so subtle that I love. Look at that right there. See 5 simple steps, swipe right. Just in case people don't know how to use this yet. It's good. Good thinking. This is a lot of words for a 3-page document.
Mm-hmm.
and there's no like headline to get me off my ass to want to read it. That's a little concerning too. It's almost like I want to combine the mind and tactics of Sean and Patrick. They both have like their own dimensional strengths, and you can see how they're. Say again?
That's why our business exists.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, they're like different sides of the same mind or whatever. I get that. But I think it's worth putting everybody's strengths together to really give this a whole 360 view. Let's see. Do you have what it takes to live out your dreams? I mean, he probably could have just said that at the start, right? Like a lot of times when I make a piece about something, it's got a good headline. So we probably should have just repeated it, said all those words. Let's see, what else did I want to say here? I almost feel like this almost could have been a document share, couldn't it? 5 Instagram opportunities. Well, yeah, not check out Instagram, check out on Instagram, excuse me. Let's got that, engagement quizzes. This could almost be converted into that. It seems like it got a decent share. Yeah, I would like to do, for sure, this benchmark report, figuring out exactly what to put there. How have we been doing on video? I saw a little bit just in terms of pictures. I know Patrick likes the inspiration shot things.
Not good enough. We actually talked about that today. We need to start doing more videos.
So what's the concern? Are people just not wanting to get behind camera? Help me understand.
No concern at all. Just
do it.
I guess in like time.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, people that I know, there's a lady who just did like 600 consecutive days of video. Anybody can just turn on video and do it. Oh, you know what I want to show you? Here's something exciting. Check this out. So as of this broadcast, there's probably maybe a dozen or 2 dozen people in the world that have live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? People don't know this yet, but there's a secret new link that because you get to hang out with me, you get to notice.
Nice.
That just came. I didn't realize it came out 14 days ago, but like this has been like under wraps, but check it out. This is a straight up application.
Interesting.
So most people don't know that this exists. So I will make sure to include that in today's notes, but I want you, pick whoever you like. Who's going to be the video guy? Honestly, probably Sean, huh? Maybe Patrick.
Probably Patrick.
You think Patrick?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, let's just figure out, because we want to do an application. I don't want it as a brand page because I feel like that has not caught on yet for live streaming. So I want it to be as a person's profile. So we'll give this as homework for Patrick. So it's so new and such an exciting thing for people that I feel like if you just get in on that, and I'll try to push for you guys and talk behind the scenes, if we can get that, I think that'll help move the needle. And like, you could make it a thing, right? You could like tell everybody in your life, hey, guess what? We're going to go live at, 3:00 on Monday and, show up and all that. And it's crazy. LinkedIn, just like Facebook shows you like when people are live on Facebook, it'll interrupt your feed and be like, so-and-so is going live. So for the time being, that's like almost ahead of everything else on the totem pole, right? Because it's a whole other way of getting in there. And the exclusivity of it, I mean, they didn't even put me in it yet. I mean, I'm not ruining my ego, but I know that it started, I think there were only 6 people in the world that got it. They're slowly rolling it out to different influencer type people. And I just feel like in the last few weeks, like more and more people have been getting it. So whether that comes true or not, I'm going to show you where to do it. I'm going to push for you guys. We'll put Pat on it. as the contender, I think is what we're saying here, right? Unless Sean wants to do it, but let's just pick one. Let's not have everybody do it. I think that will be probably like an automatic no. So we don't want that. But yeah, I really want to see some video because I feel like you guys are the right energy for it, the right appetite out there. We can probably try to brainstorm a content calendar of that. I would love to see just, like behind the scenes in the meeting, on the way to the deal, right? Here's our thoughts about life. Here's our thoughts about startup. Sean constantly talking about that kind of stuff. Patrick could talk about mindset and inspiration. There's a lot to talk about here. And like, just, we need to push for it and we need to really plan for that.
Yeah,
I really feel like that's going to be a strong thing. And I would say make sure to tag the hashtag LinkedIn video. And when you are uploading the video, do it from desktop, because when you look at it on desktop in the upper right, LinkedIn makes things like such a pain in the ass. So like, that's why you need me to like analyze everything all day to figure out this maze. Man, it's a mess. So in the upper right-hand corner, when you have the video in and about to be uploaded, there's a spot where you can edit it and then you can upload an SRT file. So that's like a transcription file. That's going to help with people looking at it because it's going to have the words on the page. Don't do that through an app. Do it through an actual SRT. If you don't want somebody to sit there and transcribe it, what you can always do is, as a shortcut trick, you can privately upload it to your YouTube channel. YouTube has pretty decent artificial intelligence where it'll get pretty close at translating it. So you can then download that SRT out of YouTube and then stick it into your LinkedIn.
Amazing.
So that'll get you a little bit further, right? So algorithmically, LinkedIn is going to look at it, and humans are going to look at it too, a little bit better, right? Like, let's say you start the morning, you look through your Facebook feed, you're going to stop when you see the words on the page, as opposed to just like whatever kind of video with nothing going on, because videos are annoying. And if I don't know some context right away, right? Or if people say sound on's nice, but what are you talking about? So you could even have like a title slide or something, not necessary, but I think it just really would help a lot to give some context and words with context before I turn on that sound. That's going to be a big difference. And if people have disabilities, that they literally are getting through the screen reader, the actual transcription content. So they're able, even if they can't hear, they can see it. Or the other way around. Yeah, it's for deaf people. There's a lot of stuff with like people with disabilities and stuff like that we've talked about, different campaigns. So it looks like we're right about at time here. So I've put together a bunch of notes and I'll, like I always do a whole recap of this. But any questions while we're here live, Darren?
I don't think so immediately. I think that, like you said, the text at the top and then the call to action will really help our engagement. And then, video is something we've discussed a handful of times. So getting into that would be great. I mean, I can only imagine we go to so many meetings and calls all the time that to, do like a live stream beforehand, like, oh, this is what we're about to talk about. And then afterwards, especially Patrick, like super passionate and like fired up about like
Absolutely.
The industry and the world has no idea that they're all just failing. And, we're here to pick up the pieces.
Right.
So
and there's a way to do that without ads. You should be able to sell what you do without a single ad. And then we're going to get to the point where you guys are going to go to the meeting and everybody will have been watching what you've been doing on the journey, right? Those are the best kinds of meetings. So it's not like you're coming in cold, they don't know who you are yet or whatever. You know how many times I do that? Like people know more about my life than I do, I feel like sometimes, because they're just like watching and stalking everything I do. And they're like, wow, it was really interesting that you did that. And you just create this whole like media mix of stuff that people find interesting. And that's how people buy, right? Makes your all's job much easier. So you don't have to like be heavy handed or anything like that. People will just naturally gravitate and love you and seek you out whenever you're around. So that's what we got, my man.
Let's do it.
Sweet. Okay, I'm very excited about this next step. Sounds like we're really making a good dent in this. I'm still going to just do my little finger wag. Please, just come on, like spend a few minutes, fix this stuff. Come on, Darren, you got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Go to you, Tom. Come on. I want everybody on the team to be trained warriors, not just the people who are live and not just the couple people that might watch beyond that, but like you could turn your entire Like, you don't need to go pay a bunch of influencers and crap like that. You've got a whole bunch of people there that also are happy to advocate for the company, right? Without even forcing them. People love it because it helps. If you have all these biz dev people, this makes life much easier. If you threw away a lot of the outbound and just focused on this, it'd go a long way. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you again for tonight. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this all up, send you the recording, and get some marching order notes before next time. And is same time and place good for next week?
Let me see here.
You can let me know. I mean, I can put that just in the recap. But even before we do the next time, let's just have a little back and forth on email to coordinate this well, to just kind of prove out some of that launch pattern. Cool?
Absolutely. I think I know we have a dinner next Wednesday already on the book, and
Okay.
it has Tuesday, so we'll definitely figure it out. If it's not one of those 2 days, maybe Monday or Thursday looks a little crazy too.
Yeah,
Well,
just let me know. I mean, we don't have to be married till like Wednesday afternoon. That was just, we were trying to pick something for consistency. That didn't exactly work out. So whatever. Let's just figure out a time. I'd love it to get a little bit more live interaction because I feel like that's a good time to have a lot of the in the moment questions.
mm-hmm.
But at the least, let's just communicate to the team what we would like to try to do to just get this content a little far and wide. Let's talk about the video. We're going to try to apply to the live video. And if there's anything else content-wise that you see coming up in the calendar, talk to me before we put it out there, right? Because I'd rather not do this kind of sidestep reuse thing that we're going to have Pat do, that Sean already did, and Pat really shared it anyway. So I'd rather have a clean shot at something.
I'm all for it.
All right. Awesome, my man. Thanks for joining in, and more to come.
Always. Thanks, Brian.
See you, man.